Hey, hey, hey. I'm going to begin today with a little prayer and you can join me with that. Let's close our eyes and say, Dear God, please guide me and help me today as I put pen to paper and try to sort out my already scrambled head in an attempt to do the best I can. Let this paper be a very, very easy paper and let my teacher correcting it be in the best of moods when she does it. Well, you guessed right. It's exam time. And that's a prayer that all students say before they enter that dreaded examination hall. Well, examinations is not only about the day you answer your exam, there's the run up to the exam, and all of us do the best we can in terms of preparing ourselves theory-wise, practical-wise, subject matter-wise to score the best grades and the highest marks. Parents are an equally stressed lot when it comes to examinations. And you have tuition classes, you have coaching classes, all of which help students to get through this very, very difficult phase. Why do I say difficult? Because unfortunately, today's students are more intent on their marks instead of actually learning. Well, that's a topic and a story for another day. But coming back to our point at hand, no, I'm not going to give you tips on how to answer exams because the print media does it, your coaching class does it, you do it yourself. You know what works best for you and how best to answer a paper. You solve all those test papers, you go online, you look at books, you look at digests, you look at guides, you source all your information all in an attempt to score really well. But there's one thing that we fail to understand and connect to examination, and that's nutrition and eating healthy. Nobody's ever told you that foods can actually influence how your brain works. Nobody's ever told you that maybe that one additional mark, that 5 additional marks that could have got you a better result would have been possible if your breakfast was good, if your diet was good, if you had done something different in terms of eating healthy. Everybody stresses on practical considerations, not realizing that the body and the mind is actually what dictates how well you do at an exam. And I'm not talking only about the higher end exams where you look at IITs and AIMS exams or medical and engineering and MBAs and architecture exams. I'm also looking at small children answering exams because today, unfortunately, there's a lot of stress laid on these little minds to perform. And it's not easy. So we as parents don't give our students or our children the best in terms of nutrition and still expect them to do well because of the money we spend on coaching classes. You have to wake up and understand that maybe their diet is not good enough. Maybe their eating patterns are not good and that's not supporting the amount of coaching you're giving them. So we're talking about little children right from primary school, secondary school, higher secondary school, and of course college sections also, which and their eating will play a major role in determining how well they do at an exam. Well, what are the nutrients of importance during an examination? They're all the nutrients that your brain requires. Remember that sitting through a 3-hour examination is like a mental marathon that requires a lot of endurance. It's your brain working for 3 hours and the 3 months maybe before that as you are preparing for this particular exam. So feeding your brain really well in the run-up to the examinations is most ideal. We begin with understanding the importance of breakfast. So that's point number 1. Never ever skip breakfast during examination time. Even during your preparatory break, even in the weeks preceding your examination and any time through the year, remember that breakfast is important. And why is breakfast important? Like we've always been told that it's the meal that you wake up to. It's the energy that your body requires. You've had dinner maybe 8-9 hours before that, your body is devoid of energy, your brain requires to start functioning, and the brain can only work on glucose and no other source of energy. The brain is a very, very tiny organ, but about 20% of the energy requirements of your daily diet is used up by the brain. That tells you how important the brain is. The brain is a beauty in its own because it can use only glucose as a source of nutrition, and that's why your breakfast should contain a source of carbohydrate which when broken down will give you the glucose that is required for the functional capacity of the brain. Very often you'll see children running off to school with just a glass of milk, and especially on examination day. Milk is protein. That's okay for functioning, for alertness and mental functioning, yes. But for actual functional capacity of your brain, glucose is important. So team that glass of milk with a source of carbohydrate, which can be a chapati, it can be bread, it can be oats, it can be muesli. But make sure, parents, that you send your child with this added bit of carbohydrate-laden food in their diet. And no, chocos is not carbohydrate, because that's simple carbohydrate, yes, but it's utilized very quickly, and then the brain is hungry again. So during examination time, complex carbohydrate and protein for your breakfast, an absolute must. Point number 2 is that we don't have time. Time is extremely precious during exams. You don't want to be bothered with sitting down at a table and enjoying a meal with family, which you otherwise would have done. You want something fast, you want something quick. And I don't blame you for that, because yes, every minute is precious when you prepare for an examination. And that's where nutrient-dense snacks come in. You don't have to sit down to a platter full of food. As a parent, you can help your child by giving them a nutrient-dense sandwich or a nutrient-dense burger with a healthy homemade cutlet, raw vegetables, and preferably no dressings. A simple dressing, a homemade dressing that you could use in your sandwiches would be maybe chutney or a coconut-based chutney or a groundnut chutney, a slice of cheese to give you the protein required for alertness of the brain, and the bread or the chapati, the Frankie roll that you have, which gives you your glucose and the energy for the brain. Other quick fixes that you could think about are carrot idlis, spinach idlis or dosas, or an egg dosa. So that's again a quick food that you can just grab and eat and don't really need to sit down at a table to finish off. You can even have a smoothie which has everything into it, like milk, there's curds, you can put in a favorite fruit, you can put in some nuts, some dry fruits. So that's a healthy 300 ml or 350 ml glass of total nutrition packed for keeping you alert and attentive and preventing you from dozing as you study. The third thing that you require to remember is intermittent snacking is very important, but correct snacking. So I would suggest every 3 hours, make sure that you're giving your body some amount of nutrition. Remember, if your body is not happy, the brain's not going to function. And however much you keep studying and studying and studying and reading, it's not going to be retained by your brain. So every 3.5 hours, make sure that you're eating something, a bowl of fruits, maybe some yogurt with fruit, some nuts, some seeds, even some boiled eggs, which you can, and don't throw out the yolk, because the yolk has all the essential fatty acids again required by the brain. So that's important nutrition too. Maybe a mug of soup also can get you going somewhere later in the day. A big bowl of salad, which can be with sprouts and chicken. Maybe you could avoid the pasta in the salads, but anything else with a whole lot of greens in it and sprouts, excellent for the brain and keeping you alert. The fourth point that you have to remember, stay hydrated. If you've ever noticed, exams come at a time when it's really hot. October, when you're sweating. March, April, May, again when the temperatures go up. I don't know why the curriculum is like that, but yes, unfortunately it's at a time when the levels of heat are really high and you feel lethargic. Very often we don't realize that a lack of water is what causes lethargy. It is what causes fatigue, is what does not allow us to actually concentrate when we are trying to study. So make sure that your child is hydrated at all times. That means drinking anywhere between 2 to 3 liters of water for someone in an older age group. For little children in the primary and the secondary section, about 1.5 liter of water through the day is very, very important. When I say hydrated and when I say drinking water, water is plain water. No carbonated beverages. A definite no at any time of the year, and especially not during exam time, because it's just pure sugar and you don't want that. Like I said, simple sugars will make your brain alert for maybe about 20 minutes, half an hour, and then again it slumps. So no carbonated beverages at all, plain pure water. Tender coconut water, excellent. Get your children into the habit of drinking tender coconut water. Fresh juices, which are vitamin C rich and replenish your body. You have buttermilk, you have Indian options like lassi, which are again very good, watermelon juice, pomegranate juice, filled with antioxidants which keep your brain functioning very, very well. So these are beverages of choice that you need to take. Also, no coffee. The older age group often believe that maybe some caffeine will help them stay awake longer. It may, but remember that these are dehydrating fluids. Coffee and tea are dehydrants. They are diuretics. They pull water out of your system. So don't have them. Maybe your regular 2-3 maximum cups of tea or coffee, not more than that. You also need to remember that maybe if you have a liking towards herbal teas or green coffee, those are acceptable. But plain water, lime water, fresh juices, that's your safest bet. And then what's also important is activity. Activity time hardly exists in our daily schedule, but you have to make the effort, especially during exam time and in the run up to the exams, to incorporate a little bit of activity. The brain requires that boost. The brain requires that energy levels going up, and activity does that. The moment you take part in any form of activity, whether it's a 20-minute walk, a swim, a jog, maybe even cycling, or indulge in any sport that you like, physical sport that you like, hormones are released in your body, and these are the feel-good hormones which make you more alert, which make you happier, which make you want to study more. Yeah, so activity shouldn't be looked at something that parents especially that say no activity during examination time. That's wrong. Please encourage your child to go out, and if even they don't want to do any strenuous physical activity, just to walk around the block, breathing in that fresh air, relaxing is good for the brain. And finally, sleep. We skimp on that during exams, but no, sleep is essential. At least your 5 to 6 hours of sleep, you need to get that to perform your best during examination time. So these are a few things which are nutrition related. Of course, as parents, we also need to remember there are some so-called wonder foods which I'm sure most of you all, if you all have actually taken an interest in providing the best nutrition for your child, especially during examinations, you would have read about it. There are a few foods that you need to emphasize and make sure it's there in the diet of your child at least a month or so before an examination, and definitely during examination days. Food number 1 is your fish. We're in Goa, surrounded with a lot of fish, and we need to make the best of the fish that we get. So fatty fish like salmon, tuna, mackerels, sardines, these are the ones. 2 servings per day, every single day in your child's diet. For those of you who follow vegetarian diets, maybe once or twice a week, it's okay to stay off the fish, but a substitute for the fish, if you're not having it on that day, would be some nuts like walnuts, almonds, flax seeds. These are again, these contain a lot of omega-3 fatty acids, and omega-3 fatty acids are brain food. So you get them either from your fish or you get them from your nuts. Make sure it's there in your child's diet. Food number 2, all your dark green leafy vegetables. Not the lighter greens like your lettuce leaves, but the darker greens like your spinach and your broccoli. Again, these are the ones that have a lot of lutein in them, that have a lot of zeaxanthin in them, and they have a lot of antioxidants which are brain foods. So make sure your lunch and your dinner has broccoli, cabbage, the darker green variety of cabbage, cauliflower leaves, yes, carrot leaves, sometimes radish leaves also, and of course our eternal spinach or palak that we have. Food number 3 that you need to stress on are all your nuts. Like I said, if you are vegetarian on certain days, nuts come in instead of fish. But even on a daily basis, as a snack food, when your child is studying, make sure that there's a small little container filled with almonds, walnuts, linseeds out there that your child can snack on. It has a lot of healthy fats, essential fatty acids required for the brain and for development of your nerve impulses. So this will keep your child going. So nuts and linseed and seeds as snack foods during study time and during examination time. And of course water, very important, and your berries. Anything that is a deep red, that's a deep blue, purple in color, these are the things that need to be there in your child's diet, especially during examinations. We don't really get blueberries and blackberries out here, or they would be a little more expensive. But we could choose other things which are a deep purple in color, like your red cabbage would be there. You have your brinjal, which is a good source of these antioxidant rich deep colored vegetables and fruits. Make sure that that's there in your child's diet also. So these are important nutrients, important foods for the brain. Remember, it's not easy studying, it's not easy being a student in today's age and generation. Parents have it tough, children have it tougher. But if you as a parent understand that in addition to all the coaching classes that you put your children through, in addition to all the screaming, shouting and hours of tuition and hours of sitting at that desk that you put your child through, what he eats or what she eats is equally, if not more important. Because all the extra efforts you take will come to naught if you don't provide your child with basic nutrition. So keep these points in mind. All the best for your exams, and parents, stay cool and provide the best for your child.